right, welcome to You Gotta See This Movie, podcast of two guys who like to talk about movies as well as the deeper thing that make these stories more than just a movie. All right, well today, thanks for joining us. We are going to do something a little different today, Jim.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to talk about top five
directors.
Top five directors. All right, normally this channel, we usually take a movie, we just kind of talk about one movie. We want to try something different. And so these top five videos are going to be just different subjects like directors, summer movies, animal attack movies,
Favorite
westerns. And so not much to it. We just want to talk about our top five things. So we thought, hey, what's a good idea to start? And we said, let's start with directors.
Sounds good.
All right. So apparently we do call this thing top five. However, we're going to give our top 10.
Well, let's go. We'll quickly
Quickly
go
10 through 6.
Okay.
Do you want to go first?
Here, I'll go first.
All right. What's your 10 through 6?
Okay. So favorite directors are pretty much based on films that I like.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that there's a great director, but I'm not.
Well, this is your top five.
This is my top five.
Yeah.
Right. And it's really about the director, even though, regardless of how many films he made, even if he made just one film, if he did a great job, I'm like, yeah, go dude. Anyways, I just want to say that. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So number 10, Alfred Hitchcock.
Okay.
Right.
Classic
Master of Suspense.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Number 9 is Tim Burton.
Tim Burton. Okay.
Mr. Spooky Gothic Man.
Yep.
Yeah. Love
Frank and Weenie. Love it.
Frankenweenie, 84. The best.
2012.
84. Number 8 is John Hughes.
John Hughes.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Can't beat John Hughes.
Can't beat John Hughes.
Yeah. Number 7, John Ford.
John Ford. The man with one eye.
The man. Did he really have one eye?
I don't know. I think he did. No, I could be wrong on that.
The Fablemans, right? Didn't he have like an eye patch or something? Why am I thinking?
I don't know.
Why is it we think he had one eye?
I don't know why I said that.
How can he have one? Yeah. Big pictures.
You only need one eye to look through the camera.
Epic movies. Yeah. Okay. Number 6, Robert Zemeckis.
Robert Zemeckis.
Yeah. Which I thought maybe he might be on my
top 5.
Top
I'm actually
5.
surprised Zemeckis is not on your top 5.
I know. Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice.
So what's your 10 through 6?
Okay. My 10 through 6 first is number 10, Walter Hill. He made a lot of like gritty action films. Most importantly, one of my favorite movies of all time, The Warriors. He made that. Extreme Prejudice with Nick Nolte is another great film, and Last Boy Scout. Really gritty, not very uplifting. Number 9, Ridley Scott.
Oh yeah.
Too many classics to name, and he just keeps cranking them out. And yeah, I don't know. He's made some movies that I don't necessarily like, but I'm like, but it was still a good movie.
Yeah, no, he's great. I mean? Yeah, he was almost on my top 10.
Yeah, there's movies that I'm like, I'll never watch that movie again, but it was a good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Blade Runner.
Yeah. But that is a movie I'd watch again.
Yeah.
Number 8 is Frank Darabont. Familiar with Frank Darabont?
I'm familiar with the name.
Okay, well, he made probably one of the greatest movies of all time. Shawshank Redemption.
Okay.
He made The Green Mile, which I love, and then he made The Majestic, another movie that I love.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Another movie that I like, The Mist. Very good. I don't know. He doesn't have like a style. I don't know. His movies just seem to work. And so I really like Frank Darabont. All right.
It's kind of a little more on the darker side of life. Just kind of serious tones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Number 7, John Hughes, also on my list.
Oh, I was number 8 with John Hughes.
The voice of a generation. Not necessarily my generation, but
he
was the voice of the generation that I looked up to.
The Rat Pack.
Yeah.
No, not the Rat Pack. The Brat Pack.
Rat Pack. When I was a kid, I watched all his movies and thought like, oh man, those guys are so cool. I hope I be just like them when I grow up.
Yeah.
Glad I wasn't. And then number 6, James Cameron.
There you go.
James Cameron. Now, see, 6, 5, and 4 are all directors that could have been easily interchanged.
I'm surprised that Cameron's not in the top 5.
I know, and
it's the blue people thing.
The blue people
pushed them.
And not saying that those Avatar movies are
no,
bad.
they're really good. They're good. Yeah, they're good.
But I just I'd like to see him do more than just the Blue People, and I think that's what he's going to do for the rest of his life.
Blue People.
So, but you got the Terminators, you got the Abyss, you got Titanic.
Yeah.
So, yeah, great. All right. So
Piranha 2, The Spawning.
And Piranha 2, The Spawning.
Yeah.
I forgot.
Don't forget about that one.
That's a great pool. All right. Okay. Now let's get into the top 5.
Top 5.
Should I go first?
You go first. Have your coffee sip.
Okay. Number 5 for me. And again, let me just go back and say number 6, number 5, and number 4 could all be in. They're all tied. Yeah.
All right.
Someone's got to be 5.
Okay.
And I'm going to say Martin Scorsese. Yes, he is the guy that is known for his mob movies, but he has been making movies for such a long time, and all of his movies are just intriguing.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I think the first movie that I ever saw of his was not The Departed, but Goodfellas, and that was a movie that my grandpa worked on. He had a copy of the movie, and I can remember being at my grandma's house, and the family was over, and they said, "Oh, they gave me a copy of the last movie I worked on, Fred Jones," and we borrowed it, and then I got to watch it before my parents. My parents didn't really know what it was, and it's a super violent movie. I should not have seen it at the age that I did.
Well, how old were you?
However, I think I'm better for it. Like movie wise, my movie knowledge is better for it.
Yeah.
I think I was in 4th grade.
Oh dang.
Yeah.
You were a little kid.
I would not let my 4th grader watch that movie.
Oh dang.
But I was like 4th or 5th grade. But then I got like so wrapped up in like mob movies.
Yeah.
And then I started writing mob stories in school, and I got in trouble for writing
All right.
these
Yeah.
stories.
So this got into your head when you were a kid.
It got to me. Yeah. Like Goodfellas really did.
I've never seen Goodfellas. Because I figured they're not good, right?
No, they're not good.
No.
But yeah, then he made Departed, The Aviator, fantastic films.
Oh yeah.
Hugo, and like with Hugo, like you think of Martin Scorsese as this violent mob guy, but then he makes this really cool family friendly movie named Hugo. So he's just really good, and he's very talented, and he knows his stuff, and so he is number 5 on my list.
Nice. My number 5 is kind of an odd pick. Brad Bird.
And
he hasn't done much.
Mr. Tomorrowland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You say that with a smile. Like I realize that the movie has flaws.
Yeah,
but
every movie
does,
does, right?
But Incredibles.
Iron Giant.
Yeah.
That's probably my favorite movie of his.
Yeah.
Oh, and Ghost Protocol, Mission Impossible.
Well, there you go.
One of the better Mission Impossible movies he did.
Yeah, I think of him as a director it's more of a personal thing as to what he personally brings to the film.
Mm-hmm.
And I just love what he did with those films.
Yeah, it's like the gadgetry stuff, right? Like
but he has that.
Making.
Yeah, he's got the gadgets. He's got that retro styling, but a lot of his stories are like with The Incredibles. It's like family, family working together, family coming together, and even with we think of Iron Giant. It's got more serious tones to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, yeah, Iron Giant's a movie where, man, if you're not close to tearing up towards the end there,
there's something wrong with you.
You're not a human being.
You're not a human being.
Yeah.
And it's a cartoon.
And it's a cartoon. Yeah.
For animation.
That is a movie that needs a 4K. I can tell you right.
What?
Iron Giant.
Iron Giant.
That'd be great.
I'd like to see a shot-for-shot live action version.
No.
I know. Why not?
I don't know, because that cartoon is.
That's the thing. You can't do a live action version and change it and tweak it. And it's got to be like shot for shot. Because I think it would just be so incredible
if Brad Bird did it.
Well, yeah. I mean,
he directed it. And,
well, if you do it shot for shot, line for line, you don't have to. He doesn't have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
I want to see the giant. I want to see that robot.
That would be cool.
Right?
That would be cool. You kind of see that in Ready Player One, Spielberg movie.
Oh, that's right. He is.
Yeah, you kind of get that little fix.
Well, how big is he in Ready Player One though? Is he like huge,
He's giant.
Is he like the same as in Iron Giant?
Yeah, I mean, he's no Mecha Godzilla big, but he's big.
Because I know with animation you can tweak scales and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, he's like huge and towering over the town, but then in the other shot he's in a barn.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Doesn't really work.
Doesn't work.
No. Anyways, Brad Bird.
Brad Bird, that's
number
a
5.
great pick. Number 5.
Okay.
All right, number 4 for me. John Carpenter, the man.
Spooky horror
movie guy. But he's much more than that. Like, I love, like, Halloween being is my favorite. I think it's my favorite John Carpenter. It's between that or The Thing. But what he was able to do with Halloween was like zero to no money. And I think I'm always inspired by directors that can do that.
Yeah.
That can actually make something look so great and timeless. And yet, like, yeah, we had no money. We're making this up as we go.
Right.
And then he even, he does like the scores to his own movies. He has concerts. Did you know that he actually has concerts? And
he's a musician too?
Yeah.
No way.
So like he did the Halloween theme, Assault and 13 Precinct theme. Just really good. And he films a lot in Los Angeles, which I always like. I'm a sucker for movies that take place in Los Angeles or where we live. Because like I can see like, oh, I know that place, or I know that I can go there. Even like Halloween was supposed to be in a different state,
That's
but it was
crazy.
But it was in Pasadena.
He writes the music. I'm sorry, I'm still stuck on writing the music.
Yeah.
That's like if the director like showed up and he's like catering it too, it's like serving food to the crew.
No, I don't know the story behind it. I obviously he's got some sort of musical background.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was a thing. Look, we can't even afford a composer for Halloween, so I'm just going to do this real quick.
Oh, okay. So we just went over to the piano and
so I think like he just figured it out, but like his stuff has been timeless.
Yeah.
Like his themes are used in other movies.
Yeah.
So it's really cool. They Live. That story.
Yeah, I got to revisit his stuff. Wait, did he do Christine?
Did Christine. Yeah. A lot of these directors that I have that are my favorite directors in my physical media library, as I like to call it.
Yeah.
I have my sections of my directors.
Yeah.
Not every movie gets that, but I have my Carpenter section. That's important. And then actually all these guys have.
You say Carpenter section like this. My Brad Bird section would be like.
Well, he hasn't made as many movies as Carpenter.
It's just funny.
So.
John Ford. If you had John Ford section.
Wow, you have a lot of John.
No, I don't have a lot. I mean, if I did.
He has made. Yeah,
if I did, yeah.
Cranks out a lot of movies.
Yeah.
All right. So that is my number 4, John Carpenter.
John Carpenter. Okay, my number 4 is, again, kind of an odd pick because he hasn't done much. But again, I like what he brings to the film, and that's J.J. Abrams.
Oh, J.J.
J.J.
Yeah.
And I think the first film that caught my attention was Star Trek.
Yeah.
2009?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Lens flares.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, just his stylings. It's like every shot that he puts together is just cool. It's just cool.
I agree.
Yeah. And I like what he brings.
And I think as a director, everything looks awesome.
He was like, well, that's cool.
And I think if I was to ever write and produce a movie, like I'd want him, I think out of all these guys, probably because like, I don't know, like the story I would make fits him best. The reason why, because I thought about J.J. Abrams being in my top 10. The only reason why I didn't is because I want to see more original movies from him. Like Super 8. Amazing.
Right.
But everything else has been Star Trek,
Star Wars,
and Mission Impossible. Which again, I think that is my favorite Mission Impossible movie is the one he made. Number 3. Star Trek, I'm not a Star Trek fan at all, but when he made those movies, I loved them and like I own them.
So is he going
to Star Wars? Not his fault. I'm just gonna say.
Yeah, but Force Awakens was good though.
Force Awakens.
Well, I liked what he did with it, and it had his touch. So if you've got like a remake of something, get JJ to do it because he's gonna make it look cool regardless of what it is. Which, like you said, it's like you want to see him do something original, but I don't know.
Yeah, and again, you're right. Force Awakens was good. Rise of Skywalker, not his fault.
Well,
Like,
and
I don't think it was what he did that made that movie not great.
Well, that's the thing with Rise of Skywalker is that it was super cool. I thought it was super cool, but then maybe I'm just going by visually
I just didn't like the
seeing.
story.
No, the story.
Yeah.
The story was lame, but I don't know. I just like his touch.
Yeah, I agree. I like his touch too.
Can we put a lens flare on in here?
Yeah.
Coming through. Okay.
All right. Number 3 for me, Christopher Nolan. Probably he's the most modern director.
The modern day director.
He's the science man. Everything he makes has some sort of like science, whether it be like physics or mathematics or time or behavioral science. Every movie has some sort of real world science connection to it, and like him exploring that world of that particular science. I guess maybe not Dunkirk, but he's a guy that, again, his style is so good, and his everything, the writing, the actors he chooses to be in these roles. When he said he was going to have Heath Ledger be the Joker, I think me and the rest of the world thought that was dumb.
Mm-hmm.
And that was an amazing casting. He knew what he wanted. He knew what he can get out of these actors. And
he knew how to direct them.
And he knew how to direct them.
Yeah, it's all about,
Yeah, and even to me, his worst movie is still a really good movie, which is Tenet. And the only reason why it's his worst movie is because I don't understand it. But that might be more my fault. But it was still a good movie.
I haven't seen Tenet. What's that about?
Man,
that guy not paying his rent or something? Or?
I'll let you borrow it.
All right.
Good luck. But I don't even know how I can explain it, but it's like in the name. What are those things called where it's like the same front and back?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, like rats and star is the same thing, right?
No.
That's an anagram.
Like,
anagram.
So it's like this, you're dealing with levels of people that are on time, but we're in the same room together, but we're in different levels of time.
Oh, it's a time travel-y thing.
Yeah.
Or space,
but it's
space
weird.
time.
It's weird.
Okay, I want to see it.
So like you could be doing things in reverse because you're like, I don't know.
All right.
I don't know. I've seen it twice. I do want to see it a third time.
Okay. You've seen it twice and you still don't know?
Yeah, man. It's rough.
What was that about that time travel one? Primer? You ever see Primer?
That is, I understand that one a little bit better than I did Tenet.
And even that was just like, I still not quite understanding what's going on. Even though I understand what's going on, I don't understand it.
Yeah, Tenet, Primer was really good. That was one of those like cheap movies that someone was able to make and be really good.
Not the layer of paint you put down before you put the finished coat. No.
All right, so that was my number 3, Christopher Nolan. What's yours?
My number 3 is somebody you might not even know who it is.
Test me.
Robert Stevenson.
He did the Herbie movie, didn't he?
I know. Yeah, we already talked about this before. Robert Stevenson. Yeah, I'm a big Disney silly movie buff fan. So he's directed some of my favorites. Well, he's mostly well known for Mary Poppins.
Yeah,
that one. Okay. That's a big one, and that's even like classic Disney. But Herbie, The Love Bug. What other movies? Oh, Absent Minded Professor. I just love those silly Disney movies. And the thing about him is he can take a silly storyline and make it fun and entertaining and watchable and not cheesy. It's good. Good at just
nice.
Good at filmmaking.
So is Herbie your favorite movie that he's done?
Probably.
Okay.
I mean, he's done so many of them. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Like I didn't really know who he was, but I have seen Herbie, and you know, we talked about Christopher Nolan, how he directs and gets the best out of people.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy had to direct a car,
Yeah.
an inanimate object, but yet there was so much personality that you got out of Herbie.
Well, and that's the thing that was different between him and all the other directors of Herbie films. Although we did direct the second one, Herbie Rides Again. But the later films, it was like they had to add effects to Herbie to give him personality, you know, make his headlights wink or you know, give motion to him, which didn't really make sense. It's like, you know, Robert Stevenson was able to get emotion and, you know, feeling out of the car by just camera angles or just, you know, time focused on a certain spot of the vehicle or something like that. So anyways, I liked his style. Yeah.
That's great. All right. Number 2 for me, Quentin Tarantino.
Ooh.
Yeah. What to say about this guy? Well, I think there was the time in my life where there was before I saw Pulp Fiction and after I saw Pulp Fiction. And he was probably the first guy that I ever started caring about what the director did, you know, or seeing like, okay, so what he did does matter. His movies are all dramas, but yet there's moments that are funny in it, you know, they're never meant to be comedies. You'll laugh at scenes that aren't supposed to be funny. And his use of music is really good. And again, not like Carpenter where he, you know, he writes the music. He just picks pop songs or songs from different genres and just he does really well. And like you can hear those songs later on. You'll think of these movies that he's made. His dialogue is always great. Like he could write a scene where just two guys are talking at a table and I can listen to his dialogue all day. He is really good at talking about movies. Like there's he has a podcast that I like to listen to. I forgot what it was called, but yeah, that guy, he knows movies more than like anyone I know. And this guy never went to film school.
Natural.
He just worked at a video store and watched a ton of movies.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say too, like a lot of his movies is he's unashamed, like unapologetically, he will rip off. So the movies that he did grow up watching,
Mm-hmm.
he'll do those scenes or he'll do what he learned, but yet he does it so much better, more flawlessly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, to me, he has not made a bad movie.
Yeah.
I like all his movies.
Great filmmaker. The polar opposite of Robert Stevenson.
Polar opposite. However, I guess Quentin Tarantino at one point was supposed to make a Star Trek movie with those characters, the J.J. Abrams movie.
Really?
Yeah, they wanted him to direct it.
There would have been some horrible, horrific, bloody.
That's what he said. He said it's going to be rated R, but they didn't do it. But they came to him. It wasn't like, yeah.
You know what you get. You know what you're going to get.
You know what you're going to get.
What was it? The Hollywood. What's that movie about Hollywood?
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Yeah. It was a good movie.
Yeah.
And it's like Tarantino, and I'm thinking, coming. It's coming. Somewhere in the movie, it's coming. Some awful, gory, bloody.
Yeah.
Yeah. And at the very end. At the very end. There was. Yeah. I'm like, oh, here it is.
Like, to me, Tarantino is a guy that, like, I can look at all these directors that we mentioned, that I mentioned, and they're in it because there's an art, right? They want to bring their art to the world. They want to, they have their style, and Tarantino very much has his own style, but you can tell, like, I'm not doing this for the art. I'm doing this because I just love movies and like old, like, movies that he grew up watching. And, different songs, like different lines. Like I'll watch an old movie from the 70s and be like, oh, that's where he got that from. Like, oh, that's where he got that from.
Oh, okay.
And he's not, and he admits it, but yeah, he just loves movies. So, all right, what's your number 2?
Number 2, and you talk about like directors that have their own style, like Quentin Tarantino movie, you know what you're going to get. You think about Tim Burton.
Mm-hmm.
Tim Burton's doing a movie. You know what you're going to get. You're going to get like spooky, gothic, super stylized, artistic,
Right.
well, fun movies, right? This director, which I think we both share in our top 5, all of his movies are good. And it's not like you just think about the name of this director and it's like whether he's doing a serious drama or something a little more funny or documentary style, it's always good. Steven Spielberg.
Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
You know what I
Number
mean?
2.
Number 2. Yeah. And
Wow.
it's like, he can do, Saving Private Ryan,
Mm-hmm.
this amazing, sort of docu-drama, serious, but then on the other hand, he's doing E.T.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's a great storyteller.
Mm-hmm.
Just an amazing storyteller, regardless of the genre, regardless of the time, or he's not putting his own style into it. He's just a really good filmmaker.
Yeah. It's interesting. And I'll just go ahead and say this now. He's my number 1.
Yeah, I kind of figured he was.
You're right. You could look at Saving Private Ryan and E.T. and they're vastly different movies. Like,
Yeah.
you would almost think like these aren't the same people.
Right.
You could even take like Schindler's List and Jurassic Park, which came out in the same year,
Right.
and think these movies are completely different people.
Right.
So he really gets wrapped up in the story.
Yeah, he's
And what the
he's
story
about,
needs.
right. Yeah, the storytelling basically is what he's a good storyteller. So whether he's telling a fantasy story or a historical story, he knows how to bring it together, and that's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He I like how he takes his whole idea, and maybe I'm talking about early, well, even Saving Private Ryan, but just like ordinary people doing extraordinary things.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of a theme for him.
Yeah.
And like even just like I think going back to Saving Private Ryan, when they're talking the whole movie, they're betting what did the Sarge do before the war. And there was always like they never knew what he did, and it turns out a school teacher.
Yeah,
That's
right.
what he did.
That's right. Yeah.
He's just an ordinary school teacher, but yeah, and same thing with going back to Jaws, which is my favorite movie. Chief Brody, who was a New York City cop, and becomes a small time guy, but who is afraid of water.
Yeah.
And he chooses to live on an island.
Yeah.
And yet he has to go after the shark, who's not a fisherman, and he has no business being there going after the shark, but he does it. So, yeah.
Okay, so he's your number 1. What's your number 2?
Number 2 is my Tarantino.
Oh, that was number 2.
Yeah, and so now my number 1 is Spielberg. Your number 2
okay.
is Spielberg. What's your number 1?
My number 1 is Joe Johnston.
Joe Johnston. Wow.
Or Johnston.
Johnston.
Johnston. There's a T in there. Yeah.
Some would say like that he's Steven Spielberg light.
Really? Steven Spielberg light?
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
Kind of.
He came out of the.
Yeah.
He worked with Steven Spielberg, right? Like, didn't he do Raiders and?
Yeah. Well, Joe Johnston had his background is design Star Wars.
That's right.
That's right. The Joe Johnston sketchbook. Yeah, book I own. Yeah, so he's ILM visual effects guy, got into directing. So October Sky,
Great movie.
movie.
Movie got to see.
Rocketeer,
Mm-hmm.
and Captain America.
First Avenger.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Oh yeah, Shrunk the Kids.
Yeah, just
He's got a good list of movies. Jurassic Park 3.
yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, he his movies have heart. I've heard him say that about what he likes. And he likes movies that have heart, something deeper to them. I just like what he brings. I like what he brings. His style. Yeah, he's my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that.
You see that?
He does got talent, or he does. Yeah,
I don't know.
good director.
I like a feel-good movie. Feel-good adventure movie.
Mhm.
That's Joe Johnston.
I look back at like even Jurassic Park 3, now that you mentioned that, like to the heart, and like that Jurassic Park 3 really was about a family coming back together.
Mm-hmm.
We just happened to use dinosaurs as a way to get there.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, and October Sky was more about the relationship between the dad and the son, which was really good.
Yeah.
And Rocketeer.
That's good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there you have it. There are our top 5 directors. And again, like we said before, this is our top 5, not necessarily your top 5.
Yeah.
And
yeah, you could probably say there's a lot of directors that are way better than these guys.
Yeah.
Well, except Steven Spielberg.
Well,
but
yeah.
but there are some people who probably think.
Yeah, but ours are not good.
Yeah.
But whatever. To them.
Whatever, man.
Whatever.
This is my list.
It's your list. This is my list.
Yeah.
And you know what? What's really cool is that I think we're entering into a time when there's these really cool new directors that are coming up. Like I always say his name wrong, but it's the Dune guy, Denis Villeneuve something. Dennis Villeneuve. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know the guy.
Dude, I think
I'm not going to say the name.
I think he could easily be in my top 10,
Yeah.
eventually, because he's making some great films.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this list will probably change. Your list will probably change.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, thanks for checking out our top 5. Look out for the next top 5. Look out for the next episode coming out. And we thank you. Please like, subscribe. Let us know what your top 5 favorite directors are. And let us know which one of our lists was better. Or which one of our lists was not good. I don't know. But yeah, let us know what you think. All right.
All right.
See you in the next one. I feel like deja vu.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of a weird feeling of deja vu.